All right, there's nothing like being in the green room, and I'm behind the scenes with the one and only Scott J Prendergast. Did I get it right, Scott? Did I get it right?
Yes, sir, you did.
Good. I'm on target. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we're behind the scenes. I'm going to start off asking the way I always like to do, which is I don't read the bios. I like to ask the person, like Scott. I'm going to ask Scott the question, who is Scott? And more importantly, what is Scott up to these days? So, Scott, talk to us.
Of course, Shay. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me on the show today. I love being in the green room here behind the scenes. So, who is Scott Prendergast? Well, I'm a 24-year-old inspirational speaker from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's where born and raised and currently live there. And as far as what I am up to nowadays is I'm traveling around, whether it's in person or via online, to different high schools, colleges, community events, conventions, you name it, talking about the importance of mental health and how to really overcome those everyday obstacles that hold us all back in our lives. And I'm really doing this through a combination of cognitive behavioral therapy practices, so some of that CBT, which is our mental health aspect, but then also just combining everyday motivation and inspiration to fuse it together to help other people know, like, hey, you know what? Life might be hard right now, but that's okay. It may have me down, but I know it's just a valley, and I know on the other side of the valley, there's always another peak. So that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm doing right now. I've got my own brand called Scotty P Inspiration, and I'm just trying to take it as far as I can go.
Man, I love it. And for those folks that are hearing you use the word mental health, and they might be wondering what's Scott's definition of mental health? I mean, what does that definition to him look like these days? Can you take a moment and kind of share that with us, please?
Of course, yeah. So when I talk about mental health, I'm just talking about what's going on in between the ears up here. So being mindful of our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions that are around us in this current moment. And one of the things that I always talk about is making sure that we're being mindful of the thoughts and our own mental health that's up here. So that way we're not just allowing, anger and sadness and rage to completely consume us, but rather we're paying attention to it. We're acknowledging it, and we're working on moving forward through it in a positive way. So that's really what I mean when I'm talking about mental health in my own words.
Now, what do you say to the dualpreneur that's watching right now? Somebody's worked all day long, then they're working on their business in the evening time. You got moms out there, you got dads out there, you got folks that are back in school studying, and they're stopping right now because they saw it. And they said, man, why should I listen to what Scott has to say this evening? Well, that's a good question. So let's ask Scott. Scott, why should they tune in? Why should they pay attention? I know in a minute we're going to get to the other side, and you're going to talk about these mental obstacles, but take a moment and talk about why this is important for anyone that's watching right now.
Yeah, I think it's important for anyone because, look, the things that I talk about are stuff that every single one of us deals with every single day. You know, whether you're a CEO of a Fortune 500 company or whether you're a student in school with $5 in your pocket, the things that I'm talking about are obstacles that hold us all back. Things like, I don't matter, I can't do this, what's wrong with me? Those thoughts that come into our head, we all have them. And I want to talk about that. I don't want to brush it aside. I don't want to suppress it. I want to talk about that and then address it and learn how we can move forward past it through a variety of techniques and how we can get you to become inspired in your day. Despite what's going on in your life, despite your circumstances, I want you to be able to reach into the deepest part of your soul and pull out a little bit of peace, a little bit of joy, and give you that fire to keep moving forward in your life. And I think by doing this today, hopefully you'll be able to, take that from this.
I love it, man. What's your big why these days, man? Like, why does Scott do this? Like, you can be doing a lot of things with your time right now, but no, you're out here saving the world. You're out here with a message that you're very passionate about. What's your big why?
That's a great question, Shay. And I think the biggest why for me is that, I knew for years, I felt like the things that I was dealing with, I thought I was the only one going through it. I thought no one else knew what it was like to be so trapped in your head, feeling like you were in your own mental prison. But then when I started to overcome it, I figured, wait a minute. I'm not the only one who experienced this. And if I figured this out, I remember how alone that I felt. So I want to help somebody else. And I don't just want to help the people who have the deep pockets or the people who are going to pay me. No, I want to help the everyday person, the everyday Joe who's going to their job and who's just struggling. And I want to help them to find some joy in their life and really hold on to that. And, ultimately pursue their passion, whether it be entrepreneurially or in another avenue too.
Wow. Very, very important, man. I know one of the ways we were to connect was a guy by the name of Robert Foster, cool guy. Take a moment and talk about this, the power of collaboration. I mean, one of our 12 rules for life is that collaboration crushes competition. Collaboration crushes competition. Talk about the importance of working with in collaboration with other folks, not just by yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Collaboration is so essential because at the end of the day, If you're trying to make it anywhere in this life, you have to rely on other people. And it's a give and take. You can't just take. And also, you never just want to obviously be giving. But I think collaboration is great because, especially in our field, it allows you to bounce ideas off of each other and really gain inspiration from other people to apply to your lives as well. And when you're relying on other people for whatever the reason might be, you're going to be building those relationships too that you never know when that's going to help you later on. So I think that's why collaboration is absolutely essential, because we've all tried to go the lone wolf at some point in our lives, and it always ends up in a ball of anger and frustration and really not getting anywhere, because we need other people. And that's just the long and the short of it. And I think what we're doing here is a prime example of that. We wouldn't have met if it wasn't through Robert, who was collaborating, the three of us together. So important.
Said so well, man. Said so well. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we got a show. We got to get on the other side. For Carol out there, thanks for tuning in, by the way. Calvin, my man, I see you down in Texas. Samantha, it is always a pleasure. Can't wait to get back to Georgia, but we've got a show. We got to get on the other side. We're going to get started. We're going to see you all in 5, my favorite part. 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll see you in just a second. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there. And they stay there. And they stay there. Cause all I do is win. Yeah.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And I like to always share, I believe there's 3 visions that you have. I believe first you have a vision for yourself. There's a certain way that you want to live. There's a certain car that you want to drive, a certain home you want to live, and it takes resources, which means it takes revenue. And then there's a second vision I believe you have. You have a vision for your loved ones, those that you love the most, those that you want to send to a school of your choice, those that you want to write a check for their health care insurance. Some of you want to write a check for a cause that you believe in, and it takes revenue to purchase those resources. And then the third vision you have is you have a vision for the people you were called to serve. And isn't that what this is all about at the end of the day? I like to always share the story of Noah in the Bible. And you think about it, did Noah, when he got started, he was a mission from God. He had the vision, he had the expertise. And even if you're not a believer, I'm a believer, you'll still be able to relate to this, right? And imagine when Noah got started, there was a knock at the door. Boom, boom, boom. And someone said, Shorty. They did say Shorty back in the day. There's a problem. There's no hammer in the house. He said, no problem, no hammer. I'm not going to panic. And there was another knock at the door. Boom, 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 boom. He said, over here, Noah, yo, Noah. There's no nails either. No hammer, no nails. Rule number 1, I never panic. And then there was another knock at the door, and they're looking in the back, and someone's in the back jumping up and down, and they're waving. They're saying, Noah, me. There's a problem. There's no wood, and there's no people to put the boat together. Good luck on this mission. And maybe that's you. You've got a big heart. You're ready to go, but there's a problem. There is no what? There's no people, there's no wood. This morning, this evening, the one and only Scott J Prendergast is here to serve you. What's up, Scott? How you doing, my man?
Oh, Shay, I am doing fantastic. I'm here in Philly on the East Coast. No complaints. It's a sunny day. Well, it's nighttime now, but I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me today.
Well, I'm excited, man. I'm down here in Washington, D.C. Let me ask the question, the elephant in the room, which is, why did Scott pick this topic? Like, why this topic? Why now?
Right. Yeah, I think it's a great question. So the reason that chose the topic, overcome the everyday obstacles that hold us all back in life, is because I think after coming out of COVID, we all had just so much swimming around up here in our head. Everybody was just thinking very anxious thoughts, very depressive thoughts, and everyone's just, it's just a mess, right? And so the reason that I chose this is because this is what I do for my career. I want to work on addressing those thoughts, those negative and anxious thoughts that we all have, I want to work on moving forward past them. And so the reason I chose that topic is because I want to spread that message to everybody. That's what I do for my career. That's what I feel my calling is to do. And that's why I'm here today, to talk about how we overcome those obstacles, because we know we've all been thrown a lot of them, especially the past year and a half. I don't have to tell you that twice. You already know in your own heart, each and every one of us. So I think it's very timely. It's very apropos to where we're at in life today. And I'm really excited to dive a little bit deeper into it too.
Yeah. What do you say is one of the reasons? I mean, you get a chance to meet folks, you get a chance to interview folks, you get a chance to read about it. If someone was to ask the question, which I'm asking, which is, what is one of the challenges that holds people back, and that they have these mental blocks? I mean, from a kid, we were told that we had to think positive, at least most of us. So why these mental blocks, man? What's the challenge that holds people back from overcoming them?
Right. And there's so many different things. I could go on for 5 hours about that. But I think, Shay, one of the biggest things is seeking that validation from other people or from other things. Think about it in life. We tell ourselves that we're nothing. We tell ourselves that we don't matter until we get that new job. We don't matter until we get that new girl, that new car, that new watch, the new this, the new that. We tell ourselves that we will be nothing until that happens. So what are we doing? We're looking that our validation is going to come from the future. Our validation is going to come from when we get this or that. And that's the problem, because even when we get those things in our lives, we're never going to be satisfied because we don't have that self-validation. And all these mental obstacles all come back to the same root cause. And you know what it is? Insecurity. And when we're insecure with ourselves, we're never going to be truly able to work through the mental obstacles that we face, whether it's anxiety, depression, because we're always going to be allowing other people and their opinions and their thoughts and the things that they say sway us off from our path of being mentally where we need to be. So I think that really is the prime answer to it. And again, we could go on for hours about that, but I think for me, what I've found and through the people that I talk to, that's probably the biggest reason.
What does Scott know about this? They're like, man, Shay, what's Scott's backstory? What's his narrative? He's got a lot of energy. He's talking about this, but what's his backstory? And, well, let's find out. So what's the backstory, man? What's the narrative? What was the defining moment that led you to where you are now?
Absolutely. So for me, growing up when I was in high school and college, I suffered with pretty deep depression. And it got me to the point where I could barely even get out of bed in the mornings. I didn't want to do anything. I felt like just a shell of a person with no soul, nothing on the inside. But thankfully for me, I realized something. I could take that pain. I could take that sorrow. I could take all that anger on the inside that I had, and I could put it towards good use. I could either take it out on myself and beat myself until there was nothing left, or I could use it for passion to help other people. And what I started to do is I started to write. I would just write and fill up these notebooks with everything that was going on up here in my mind, the good, the bad, the ugly. And then because I became so passionate about writing, I actually started writing for a website about college students going through depression. Ultimately, it got pretty popular, and then I started working for this organization that was a mental health nonprofit that allowed me to share my own story all over the country to different schools. And I still work for them today, in addition to also starting my own brand. And so while working with that nonprofit, I almost kind of got like a side psych degree, because I worked very closely with a lot of clinicians and people that were in the mental health field, where I could pick up on the different strategies that we all need to use every single day to help us overcome those obstacles. So that's kind of my backstory and where I come from and why I'm so passionate about it, because, hey, you know what? I was there and I remember what it was like.
Man, someone's thinking, man, this is good. I'm feeling you, Shay. I'm with him. I'm smelling what he's cooking in the kitchen. He's on my street. I'm there with him. But can you give me one idea? Like, okay, what's one idea that I can take away as I'm listening to Scott now that's going to help me overcome this mental block? Because I'm ready, Shay. I'm ready. I'm right on the edge. Talk to us, Scott.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say something here that sounds very simple. You know what the first thing is? Acknowledgement. Simple as that, acknowledgement. Because so many of us in our lives that we get so busy and so consumed, rightfully so, with families, with jobs, with all kinds of stuff. That's normal. But we never acknowledge how we truly are feeling. And we're never acknowledging what's making us feel that way. So if I'm feeling really sad, do I ever take the time to think, why am I actually really sad? Do I ask myself the right questions? Or am I focused on the result? Oh, I'm so sad all the time, so that means I'm depressed. That means I don't matter. That means I'll lose my job. That means I'll lose my wife. That means I'm going to this or that. And that's a lot of times what many of us do. And it's okay, but it's very reactive. So one of the things I want everyone to do from this is to acknowledge slowly throughout the day, start acknowledging the thoughts that you're having up here that are dominating your mind. So maybe if you're at the office on a Post-it note, just like one of these puppies right here, or you can't really see it because of my background, but write down, hey, the thoughts I'm having right now. Just write them down. And then throughout the day, you'll start to see some patterns. And then what we want to do is after that, we want to start addressing it and saying, okay, what can I do to now allow these thoughts to pass on through and to not completely consume my mind? And we can talk about that a little bit later as well throughout the show today.
Well, they want to know now. I mean, they can't leave us on the edge. They're like, how can he just leave us on the edge, Shay? Like, we're right on the edge. Well, Shay, I just want to leave that, drop that right there. We can come back and get it later. No, we want them to tell us a little bit more. Just give us a little bit more, man. We're right here. We're right here with you.
Of course, yes. So, okay, back on the topic, what we want to do is after we acknowledge those thoughts and we say, okay, let's replace them. So here's a quick strategy. Let's say, for example, I'm just going to do it for a test's sake because I'm not too far out of school. Let's say I got a bad grade on a test. I look at the paper. First thing that I say to myself is, Scott, you are so stupid. And we've all been there, right? We've all said things like that, of course. But here's what we don't realize. That thought doesn't just go away. It doesn't just disappear. It's bouncing around up in our head all throughout the day. And then that turns into, well, I guess I won't graduate. I guess I don't matter. I guess I'm this, that, so on and so forth. So instead, what we need to do is when that thought comes into our head, we need to stop. And we need to ask ourselves the right questions and saying, okay, no, I am not stupid. I just need to learn the material in a different way. I need to change my study habits. I need to alter something to change my result. And we need to go about it with that process and that kind of mindset. And when we do this, instead of dwelling on the fact that we think we're so dumb or we're so worthless, we're going to say, okay, I just need to adjust some things in my life. I need to make a few changes, and that's okay. So you can see how something as simple as taking that negative thought, allowing it to pass through, we're not suppressing it, we're feeling it, but we're allowing it to pass through, and then we're replacing it with that positive reinforcement, with that positive self-talk. And you do that over time, we're going to start to see our mindset change.
When you talk about over time and the mindset change, is there one or two affirmations that you use that are near and dear to you? I know affirmations mean different things, different folks, but when Scott gets up in the morning or Scott's run into, like you said, these little obstacles, you gave us a snippet, but what's one maybe affirmation you use, or maybe a second affirmation that you use, or that you share with other folks that can help them along this journey as well?
Oh, of course. So I have multiple different ones, but one of the things I always do is I have Post-it notes and I stick them on my mirror, on my bathroom mirror, and also on my refrigerator back there. And so the reason I do this is that as soon as I wake up in the morning, before anything else, I'm either going to the mirror or I'm going to the fridge because, I like to eat some food in the morning. Who doesn't? So immediately I'm starting my day by looking at one of those positive affirmations. For me, I'm a believer as well, as you said. So I have the Bible verse, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer with supplication and thanksgiving, make your requests known to God. I look at that every morning and it clicks me in the right direction to, let all that anxiety go, whatever's going on in my life, take a break, but focus on that positive affirmation. And for you, it might be different. Maybe for you, it's writing something on your phone. Maybe it's, listening to your favorite song that resonates with you in some type of way. Find whatever that emergency joy, as I call them, are, and really apply that to the beginning of your day. And when you're doing this, you may not realize it, but you're setting the tone for your day right at the beginning so that your mind's going to start going in the right direction rather than swirling around in the anxiety, the panic, or whatever you have going on later in that day.
I like that. So you keep it right on your mirror, huh? That's kind of cool. Yeah. Now, do you keep any affirmation on your phone too, by any chance?
Oh my goodness. My phone, I have the notes page. I've got like thousands of notes. Anytime something pops in my head, I write it down. And then when I'm going through a difficult time, hey, even if I'm driving at a red light, of course, I'll take that phone out and I'll just look at that affirmation and that exposure and that reinforcement with saying the words. We may not think it does anything, but I can guarantee you it does. That's how our brain is wired. So we have to make that effort, though. That effort is up to us. I can't do it for them. Shay, you can't do it for them. We have to do it for ourselves, and we have to go through that process. But it's nothing that we can't do. It's just the process of, being consistent and resilient with doing it.
Consistent and resilient. What does resilience mean to you these days?
Yeah, that's a great question because that's a term we hear a lot, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
like for me, I'm always at these schools and the teachers are like, "Oh, could we talk about resilience?" And I say, "Sure." So for me, what resilience means is the ability to just get your backside kicked a couple times and then keep moving forward. To have something fail over and over and over again, but not be deterred by it. And I really think that the gift, I always say this, so here's a little quote alert for you. The gift of resilience is acquired when your desire for success surpasses your threshold of pain. And so, what I mean by that is that there's going to be pain, there's going to be difficulties in our lives, but resilience is built when we just keep moving forward through it. And I'm sure we've all heard terms over the type of, or quotes over the years saying the only way through it, or the only way to get to the other side is through it, yada, yada, yada. But it's really so true because resiliency can't be bought online, it can't be bought through TikTok. You can't steal somebody else's resilience. It's just about your life experiences and dealing with the things that you have to go through and not letting it shake you and not letting it beat you around, but say, hey, I'm going to come back. I'm going to fight. Let's go. I got this. And having that warrior mentality every day, so to speak. You have the Mamba mentality quote in the background of your place, Jay. I think that is so perfect. That would be one of my emergency joys right there to remind yourself, hey, you know what? I don't care what's going to happen to me today. I don't care. The world could fall down. I'm still going to keep moving forward because I know there are good things ahead. And I think that's what resilience is. And that's for each person to figure out in their life.
Wow. One of our core beliefs is we're moving to another segment, and it's one of our core philosophies at the Happy Entrepreneur Show, which is this whole philosophy that today is my January 1st. And for those folks that are hearing it for me for the very first time, I'll explain that. But those folks that know I'm about to do, you can look right below the video. You can look right below the video, and you can write those words. Today is my January 1st. Today is my January 1st. Those folks want to know, what is he talking about? Today is my January 1st represents one of those moments, and there's 1,000 moments throughout the day, and you get to make a decision, and that decision can forever change the trajectory of your life. You make a decision that you're going to work out. That's a January 1st moment. Or you're going to sit back on the couch and you're going to binge watch. January 1st moment. Make a decision, you're going to eat hamburgers and french fries, salt, pepper, ketchup. My son's got to have some ketchup, obviously. Some hot sauce. That's a January 1st moment. Unless you're up in Philadelphia, get a Philadelphia cheesesteak up in that place. Or you decide you're going to go get some broccoli and some kale. That's a January 1st moment. So today is my January 1st. Represents a do-over. Represents a fresh start. It means our past no longer equals our future. So my question to Scott is, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what goes through your mind, my friend?
A lot of the things that you said, and definitely now I'm thinking about cheesesteaks because you brought it up. But besides that, when I hear today is my January 1st, I really kind of harp on one of the points that you said, that my past does not have to become my present, and it won't be my future. That's something that I always remind myself of, because today's a new day. Regardless of what happened yesterday, I don't have to keep that baggage with me. I can leave it. It may have been so much baggage. It may have been a whole skyscraper worth of baggage, but I can leave that there because today is a new day. And I think when we go through with that mentality, we're going to be able to gather more intelligent things about ourselves. We're going to be able to have more open space to receive the good things that are in this life, because we're not carrying around that baggage from our past, from yesterday, from 2 months ago, from 20 years ago. We're letting it go. And January 1st, what do? Resolution. So why not make every day that resolution too? So I absolutely love that you said that, Shay. Really do. Definitely might have to steal it.
I love it. Today is my January 1st. Take a moment for those folks that are hearing you. They're wondering, how can I best connect with Scott over and beyond this conversation? So first, tell them a little bit about what type of clients do you work with, man, and what do you do, so they have an understanding if you're taking on additional clients. And then number two, how can they connect with you? How can they stay in this conversation over and beyond the time that you and I have?
Absolutely. So clients, I'm always looking for any type. I usually try to work between 18 to 35 into that range, just because that's where I fall. But, I'll do younger and I'll do older as well. But the best way to connect with me, I have a website. So it's www.scottypinspiration.com. So you can check that out. Also, I'm very active on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is @ScottyP_inspo. And you can check that out as well. And you can see all different types of social media that I put up. I post videos constantly, as well as Facebook. I have a page, Scott J Prendergast. You can see me there. And also, for the younger ones out there, I do have a TikTok. I'm kind of an old man for that because I'm 24, but I do have that. And it's also @ScottyP_inspo as well. So those are the best ways to connect with me and continue this conversation even past the show here.
I love it, man. We're moving to a segment called Rapid Fire, and Rapid Fire, so we get to ask any question on our heart, and you can answer it or you can pass on it, by the way. But the first question that I have is, of all the mentors you had along this journey of life, if you had so many mentors, what's one lesson did you learn from any of your mentors that you're going to pass on to us? That we may never meet your mentor, but we get to take the lesson and apply it in our life.
I love it, Shay. So for me, I had a mentor back in high school. I was a basketball player. You can't really tell here, but I'm 6'5", so I'm a really tall guy. And when I was in high school, I had this mentor who he always told me, Scott, if I have 4 hours that I have to cut down a tree, I'm going to spend 3 hours sharpening the blade and 1 hour spent chopping. And it kind of went over my head as a kid, but looking back on it, it's amazing how he's talking about the preparation in our lives is what's most important. Not just when you're cutting down a tree, not just when you're playing a sport, but in anything. If we could spend that majority of that time working on ourselves, prepping ourselves for whatever we have, the task that we have to do, we're going to be so much more efficient, and we're going to be so much more prepared for whatever it is that, life throws our way. So that's the lesson that I always take is 4 hours to cut down a tree, 3 hours I spend on sharpening the blade, 1 hour actually chopping it.
I love it, by the way. What's one of the books you've read that's had an impact in your life? I mean, I know there's so many books, and we're going to take the Bible out of it, so that's in a category by itself, and Think and Grow Rich is in another orbit by itself. But what's one of the books that you read recently you said, this has had a big impact on me?
Absolutely. So I read a book by T.D. Jakes called Crushing. I read it about a year and a half ago. And it was at a point in my life where I was just really struggling. Here I am traveling around talking about mental health, trying to inspire people every day, trying to really fill people's buckets and make them feel good in life. But yet I was struggling so much on the inside. And by reading that book, Crushing, it validated my experience because he talked about some of the things that I was feeling at that moment. And it made me feel not alone. It reinvigorated me, and it gave me some hope that, hey, you know what? Other people have been here too. I can keep moving forward. I can dig deep, find those hidden gems inside of me and pull them out. And that book really taught me how to do that. It was Crushing by T.D. Jakes, and it was fantastic. It really was something that changed my life. I could definitely say that.
I love it, man. When you look back at a number of things that you've done, and you've done so much already, speaking on stages, what's some of the topics that you talk about? Folks that are listening might be thinking, wow, is he available for podcasts? Is he available for shows? Is he available for retreats? Take a moment and maybe mention one or two of the topics that you talk about and how it benefits the audience.
Absolutely. So I will talk about any topics, really. I always work with the clients and work with people at conferences to say, okay, what do you really want me to talk about? And for instance, recently I spoke at a school where I tied in kindness and self-security, and I brought those two things together. But I could go on any number of ways, whether it's on a podcast, which I do have my own podcast as well. I'll give a quick plug for that. It's called The Lens of Hope podcast, the Scott Prendergast. You can check that out too. But I'm available for any topic that has anything to do with just trying to find inspiration, trying to find some hope in a world that just seems so dark. And however you want to take the branches from there, I could talk about it. I could use my expertise in the mental health field as well to tie things together. Anything or everything at all in those areas, I'm all for it. And I love being challenged too. Somebody may say, hey, could you talk about this topic? And I'll be like, you know what? Let's come up with a plan with it. We'll work together to get something that is satisfying for them too.
Yeah, what was it like for you starting off just as a speaker, getting into the business you are now, like just being an entrepreneur and getting going? What was some of the anxiety you had around that, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, well, one of the toughest things I faced is, I'm 24. A lot of people were like, well, you're young. I don't care what you have to say. You haven't been through anything. And, I had that happen a lot. People that didn't want to take the things that I was saying seriously just because of my age. But what I had to realize is that, hey, look, the message that I'm talking about is relatable to everybody at any age. And what I need to do is that I need to work on just connecting with my audience at the time. So if I'm speaking to a group of teachers that are like 35 plus, I'm not going to bring up references from, modern day culture. I may bring up references about things that they can understand. But I think trying to connect with the audience and really read them and see what worked and what didn't was tough for me because I would take things very personally when I first started out in this business. But now I'm starting to understand a little bit more about how to properly connect with people, what to say, what not to say, what to really hook them in so they're like, wow, after listening to Scott, I feel inspired. I feel like I learned something, because ultimately that's the main goal, is to help people navigate life through the lens of hope. And that's what my slogan is too. So it's perfect.
Yeah. How'd you come up with the slogan? What's the backstory behind that?
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. I was trying to come up with the idea when I started my brand, and I was like, well, what am I ultimately trying to do? What am I ultimately want people to get when they think of Scott Prendergast and Scotty P Inspiration? And I was like, well, I want people to have hope, but I didn't just want it to be like, hope you have hope for my tagline. So I thought, okay, in life, we're always looking through a different lens. Some of us, we're looking through the lens of insecurity. For others of us, we're looking through the lens of poverty. For others, it's through the lens of wealth and not being validated what they're going through. Everybody's got a different lens. But I feel like if we could take that lens off for a minute and gravitate towards one of those hope lenses, put that on and look through that, we're going to be able to really change our lives regardless of what our circumstances look like. And so that's kind of how I started with that slogan, and something I try to live by too.
Yeah, I love it, man. You have a heart to give. You have a heart to serve. I first want to say this is the second to last question, and then we'll give you an opportunity to give your closing comments. But, for the person that's out there that's listening right now, and they've been listening to you this whole time, this is powerful. He's giving me so much. I'm so inspired. It's like, what's one thing I should do, Scott? Like, when I don't get to see you tomorrow until I go find you on YouTube and find your podcast, what would you recommend tomorrow when I got to get up and life's going to be waiting for me? I got to get out the bed, and life's still there. You told me so much tonight. Does he have anything else that he can suggest that I do like as soon as I get up in the morning? What would you recommend to him, Scott?
Yeah, so I would say as soon as you wake up in the morning, take yourself over to the mirror and look at yourself in the eyes. And just look, don't say anything, just look. And look at the person who you are. And when you're looking at yourself, start saying out loud all the amazing and unique things about your life and about who you are. And at this point, somebody's saying, oh, I don't have anything unique. Nah, stop it. That's a lie. You do. And I want to make sure that we're verbalizing it. So tomorrow, say 3 things. Just start with 3 little things as soon as you wake up that are going to get you on the right track. Maybe it's just, I am beautiful, I am worthy, and I matter. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the only 3 things you can muster up because your life is at such a dark place right now. But that's fine. That's okay. Because you're still starting on that road to beginning your day, navigating that life through the lens of hope. And it starts with what we say, because what we say is going to determine how we feel. And how we feel is going to determine how we act. That's the thoughts, the feelings, the actions. They're all connected. The TFA triangle, we call it. So what do? We start with those thoughts. And then we say them out loud. I am worthy. My life matters. I'm going to do something great today. Insert whatever you want to say. Start your day like that. And over time, we're going to see a difference. And I truly believe that. That's something that I've worked on that's got me through the dark times. And as simple as it sounds, it is so essential to do. It really is.
Well, let me first say thanks so much, Scott. I appreciate you being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. You have a heart to give. You have a heart to serve. Truly amazing. Shout out to Robert Foster for at least connecting us together, man. We got to have you back. I want to turn over to you, man, to have your final thoughts or final comments to inspire folks as they got to go. These fiber optic lines will go away, right? There won't be any lights. There won't be no sky, and they've got to go do what they got to do. So I want to again say thanks so much, and I appreciate it. Over to you for your final thoughts or comments.
Awesome. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me, Shay. I really appreciate it. And to everybody out there today, I just want to encourage you by saying, hey, life's going to get better. I know every single one of us right now has something going on in our lives that feels eternal. Every single one of us has something going on in our lives that feels like it's been a thorn in our side for so long, and we're just about had it up to here with it. I know that feeling, and we all have that. But what I need you to know is that it's temporary, and that good things, they may not be right around the corner, but they are there. And we just got to make sure we keep moving through that valley, because life's all about peaks and valleys, right? Peaks, the good times, valleys, the not so good times. But when you're in that valley, guess what? That's where we grow. That's where there's that prime opportunity to get those little hidden gems that are in the dirt there and pull them out, to pull out that resilience, that hope, and hold on to those things. Because those hidden gems are what's going to give you the strength to keep moving forward so that you can get to those mountain peaks that you envision seeing yourself in 5, 10, 15 years from now. So I hope that can encourage you. And I also just want to let everyone know that what you're going through is valid. Sometimes we don't think that our problems are valid, or we tell ourselves people have it worse, this or that. Just know that what you're going through is valid, and be kind to yourself. And also just say, hey, I'm going to make it through. I've done it before, and I'll do it again.
Done it before, and I will do it again. Great closing words. With that being said, thank you all for watching, and we certainly appreciate it. I want you to know that every one of you are amazing. You're all incredible. You've got greatness inside you, and for you, I know for 100% certainty, today is your January 1st. Why? Because Scott said you're amazing. For you, today is your January 1st. Why? Because you got this. And for you, the best is still yet to come. The best is still yet to come. The best is yet to come. With that being said, my name, by the way, for those that care, is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Remember this, time is long. Life, on the other hand, well, it's very, very short. You got to live in the moment, and you got to make it count. God bless me. Wish you success. Thanks a lot, Scott. We appreciate it. Thank you all out there. We're out of here. Peace. We'll talk to you soon. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Yeah.
Thank you. God bless.